This the streets of West Philly, and one of the few places where it's still an open air drug market. See, a lot of y'all not old enough. Y'all wasn't there for the 90s, the 80s, when the things used to be lined up. You had to have two different lines, one to collect the money and one to give out the drugs. That's how packed it used to be, where certain blocks average 50, $60,000 a day. Some made 100,000 a day because the shit was that potent. You give out tests that somebody die, that means you're going to make more money. Here in West Philly, similar to like Pennsylvania Avenue in Baltimore, again, one of the few places where it's still open air drug market, you see this, you see the devastation of fentanyl replacing heroin because the fentanyl is cheaper and is more potent, right? It's just sad. People think it's just a black problem. It's a people's problem. Depending on where you live, the demographics are going to be different. I'm familiar with Pennsylvania. Used to live up there. Did my prison time and state time up there. I was at Smithville and I was at Cole Township. Of course, everybody coming through was at SCI Camp Hill. But, like the summer of 99, all the raw dope we was getting was from Philly. Used to drive up there every day. And get dope from Philly, bring it back to the town we was hustling in. Because in Baltimore they did a whole lot of scrambled dope. So of course we was going to Philly. And it reminded me of Baltimore. So but a bigger version of it or whatever, right? Anyway, when I got upstate, a lot of the young dudes from Philly, they used to smoke wet. I hear all the funny stories about I think it was like a bombing fluid. Like in Baltimore, we just drunk 40s and smoked weed. This is before people start doing ecstasy and all these pills and stuff like that. But that shit used to have these niggas so high. I heard a story, a dude thought he was a cup of Kool-Aid. And he wouldn't sit down. And I think they was trying to make him sit down. He was over the jail, still high, and he wouldn't sit down. He wouldn't sit down. They had to come and fight him, and he fought them tooth and nail not to sit down because he thought if he sit down, he was going to spill. That's how high the dude was. He really thought he was a cup of Kool-Aid. Or one story where you been in the corner, all the guys laying on the ground because they thought their legs ran off. My homie at the time told me he had to act like he went and got the dude legs and brought him back and put him on him for him to get fucking up. But the whole thing is just drug use in general, right? And the effects it have on people and how it ruins lives and how even in 2025 we still have visuals like this of people suffering from addiction. And again, society throw these people away because we can't really get a handle on the drug problem, or do we want a handle on the drug problem? Because what does the drug problem feeds? It feeds the prison. It feeds overtime for police officers. It feeds all these little programs that's not helping. You know what I mean? Well, to a certain degree, they are. If used correctly, they would help. But a lot of cases like methadone and all that stuff, it get abused, and people never really get off of drugs. That's why we still have what we have today. The problem with a lot of these these young guys, man, they wasn't there for the 90s to see this this times 10 or on steroids where people was really like that every day. But it's crazy to see in Philly that you still have this. It's sad, man. Mm. Imagine being that kid being raised by somebody on drugs. Imagine finding the crack valves like, what's this, mom? What's this, dad? Was smelling a smell. Smell like burning matches. Or your black jeans start to get ashy. You was getting shoes every other month. Then that this changed. You watching the person you love change. You watching food be in the refrigerator to now we knocking on doors to borrow sugar. Birthdays and Christmas is different. Or mom or dad gets locked up and now they're going away for a year or two. You watch, I've watched, excuse me, drugs ruin great people. They're still in there. That's why I don't believe in throwing people away because addiction could creep up on anybody. You gotta think when they was doing it, it was a party thing. Bum, 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 listening to music, 70s, 80s, afros, the button up shirts with the big collars, the purple suits and all that. The clickety clacks with the fish in the bottom. It was different. They was having fun because it was a new thing, right? And then it became that what we just watched. That was my childhood. That was the people I grew up with childhoods, right? That gave birth to all the stuff you see. And the city communities has been under attack. It don't matter who you are, what your background is. All it takes is that one time in a social environment. Some people was able to try it and walk away, but the majority of people become that. If you ain't got a good structure, even if you do, but a good enough structure that to get you out of it, send you away somewhere, and you bounce back and get your life together, or you get your life together in the random, but you get your personal life together, meaning you're not on drugs, but the destruction is still there, like a tornado, right? It's gone, but look at the path of destruction it left, and all the people around you, and the lives that it ruined. But the majority of people don't walk away from it. It has lasting effects. And a lot of those people will be between the ages of 50. No, I'm going to say right now, at least 55 and 65, 70. A lot of those people gone. A lot of those people gone or have serious health problems or OD. And the saddest part about these videos, it's a lot of young people. It's a lot of young people in these videos.
Someone calls for 20 minutes. Tell myself a bunch of times. Leave me alone.
Sad. Kids gotta walk through that to get to school. And you see everybody nodding out. That's fentanyl. That's heroin and fentanyl. That's the killer. They putting that shit in the weed. They putting it in the pills. Rest in peace, Troy. Miss you and love you forever. Just think about the path. Some of the people affected, the children affected by the parents who became addicts. What do you think their lives would have been like if that wasn't the case? Maybe we would have already been on Mars. So much lost potential. So much because of addiction. And those kids begot kids. And so much things change. Now you have what you have now. See, everybody like to talk about the now. The now. Look at this. Pointing their fingers. It has a beginning. And even before that, there was things before that. And I don't want to poke fun or use Philadelphia to point my fingers at Philadelphia, West Philly in particular. No, I'm just using this to bring light to this issue in the cities across America. It's not just a Philadelphia thing. I just grew up in that, man. I tell you, man, it was different, man. Like our mothers and fathers was on drugs. And then Men's to Society came out. Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, Dead Presidents, Mob Deep, Biggie Smalls. And whether you like it or not, if you didn't understand, we didn't understand propaganda then. But that was shaping and molding our minds. It really did. I just wish none of that ever happened to us. Free Bill Vicks. Rest in peace, Coco. Rest in peace, Tater. Rest in peace, Kevin. When I think about everything everybody lost, it was all around that to a certain degree. Nobody cared about us either. And that's when policing turned to the policing where they was just busting our heads. And it was justified. War on drugs. We keep it, let the drugs in the community, we fight it. And they create these solutions to the problems they created. And it wasn't just because, oh, there's black people. Any group of people with these same circumstances would have the same thing. And it didn't become a problem, just like fentanyl now, until it got outside of the inner cities and other people start dying. It's the truth. It's the truth. Even though the policy, to a certain degree, if we going to attack the source, helps everybody. That's why we gotta start caring about our own lives. Imagine expect somebody to respect your house and you don't respect your own house. We gotta respect our own house. Y'all just don't understand what drugs did to the people in my life. I don't know, maybe one day I'll talk about it. I'm out.